Hello, beer tubers, and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the Master of Hobbits. Today, checking out some West Coast IPA. I was recently just browsing online on some online beer shops. I was curious, can you actually get some of these modern West Coast IPAs that I preach so much about, where I actually get them home all the way from the States, and not everyone's going to do that. So I was looking, and one brewery popped up, actually a couple. But one of them that really caught my eye was Cellarmaker. Cellarmaker used to be sold in Europe quite a few years ago. There was a kind of a wave of Cellarmaker beer that got its way over here, which was awesome. They were actually here for Mikkeler's Beer Festival as well in BCC, and they were also in Denmark during that time collaborating with Amager Bryghus making a beer, a West Coast IPA, which was great. So that was really cool. I was like, oh shit, they got Cellarmaker. Then I saw what they had, and I saw they had it on the shop for a little bit. So I was like, but let's get some anyways. Because they also had some other beer that I wanted to try. Allagash White. I really wanted to revisit that beer. And also a smoked barrel-aged Imperial Stout from Trillium that sounded really cool. So I ended up ordering from this shop. This shop is known as Beer Republic. I don't know if you know it. You guys might know it if you're into buying your beer online. But I think it's one of the only places I've seen such a big selection of West Coast beer. There was a lot of West Coast beer from the States. And also probably the biggest selection of Revolution beer. So I wonder if they also do imports of beer. I'm not entirely sure. But I actually saw this beer online when it first came out. I was like, damn, I want to try that. But I was at a point where I had a lot of beer, and I think we already had gotten some West Coast beer over because I recently did those West Coast IPAs from like Shred and North Park and Ghost Town. And then it comes to Europe, which is fucking awesome. So this one I've not seen in wide distribution. I've only seen it on Beer Republic. But I hope it would be amazing if we could start seeing wide distribution of West Coast beers in Europe. I would be stoked. Although this is about 4 months old. So technically not in its prime, but heck, I want to try it anyways. Also because this is a collab with Ghost Town and Riip Beer Co. So look at this. This is Lupulin Fusion Disorder. This has got to be some of the best artwork I've seen in the game for a long time. This is amazing. This is because, Steamboat Willie, which this is just blatant Steamboat Willie graphics that's been retouched, is public domain now. So Steamboat Willie, the cartoon by Disney, is public domain. So you can do with it whatever you want in terms of artistical things and whatever. You can slap this on a label and Disney can't sue you because it's in the public domain. I think Winnie the Pooh is the same. So that's why Cellarmaker, I guess, decided to do this label, which is like Steamboat Willie Mickey smoking pot or something like that. He's definitely blowing some smoke out of his mouth. I love that artwork. So this is a West Coast IPA. Definitely looks like it's the more modern style. 7% hop with Simcoe Mosaic 702, which is now called not Betamax, Dynaboost, which is a flowable whirlpool extract from Yakima Chief. Then HBC 586 and Columbus Cryo. Really nice hop combo on there. Looking forward to this. Also, Cellarmaker has been doing hazy beer for a while, but it's like before. They did hazy West Coast basically. They have one of their very iconic beer, Double Dobus, in the cellar or in the beer fridge downstairs, which was also on their web shop there on Beer Republic, which is like a hazy West Coast, which is interesting. Like that's also a thing I kind of forgot about, that they were doing these hazy West Coast beers for a long time when the haze craze was going, that's still going. But I'm really looking forward to this, although it's not super fresh. But this for sure looks like that modern West Coast IPA. It's pin bright, it's golden yellow, it looks like just a simple Pilsner malt grist or something like that. And then it's got a white head to it as well, and not a lot of it, which is usually the case with these West Coast beers because of high hopping rates. You also see that sometimes with highly hopped hazy IPAs, the heads are not that great. But let's check out the aroma on Lupulin Fusion Disorder by Cellarmaker, Ghost Town, and Riip Beer Co. It smells pretty good. Man, I wish I could have smelled this at 4 weeks and not 4 months. You can smell that this has been a banger. I'm definitely getting a lot of dank, sticky, icky. Columbus is shining with so much weed. It is so weedy and dank. blueberry undertones as well from Mosaic, like that blueberry kush type vibe. Fuck, this smell, it still smells pretty damn good. I'm also getting like just like sweet berries, almost like a little bit of strawberry or something. Also like a slight tropical edge and an herbal edge, like a little bit of pineapple. Fuck, man, this smells exactly like the modern West Coast, just not like dead fresh, but it smells really fucking great still, which is impressive at 4 months. This smells like the kind of IPAs I want to drink these days. Also a touch of like stone fruit. Let's try it. Cheers. Man, I wish I could have drunk this at 4 weeks. You can taste that this has been like really, really popping and banging. It still tastes really good, but it's not just not like the same like feeling. Like when you drink beers, hoppy beers, really fresh, they're like singy and snappy. They're like freshness is just key with IPA. And this is still, actually, I think it's been stored really well as well because it's still quite fruity and aromatic for the age. It's got a really, that like nice drying bitter finish. It's not like overtly crazily bitter. I'm guessing they're using Flex or something, some kind of hop extract for bitterness because it's a very clean, soft bitterness. But it's their very, very dry, bone dry beer, which is awesome. And then lots of bright, fruity flavors. Like they will give you the idea of perceived sweetness, but you can taste that this is like not a sweet beer. It's just got that like sweeter type hop flavor. It's got like a nice like cooked pineapple type flavor. I often get that from HBC 586. It's definitely got a lot of dank weed-like vibes from Columbus, like really sticky, icky, cushy kind of vibes. Also like a bit of grapefruit or something like that, just lightly. But it's really interesting actually. With a lot of people I see drinking when I've brewed beers like this, it's very similar to like some of the beers we brew at Bad Seed, like Poltergeist, for example, which is actually a tribute to the fine folks at Ghost Town. A lot of people, they drink those beers and they're still saying, oh yeah, it's piney, grapefruity, resiny. So it's like, but it isn't. It's just because I think a lot of people have in their minds, that's the flavors of a West Coast IPA. And not necessarily. It really depends on the process and hops and everything. Like this is so modern and bright and dank as well. A lot of that like blueberry kush type vibes for me as well. Also a little bit of an herbal note, which I think you often get from HBC 586 as well. It can almost be a little bit like dill-like or like Thai basil. It's just like an interesting herbaceous vibe that's also like a little bit fruity. And I think that comes from there. I'm impressed at the quality of this at 4 months. This is really TMOH IPA, as Joe says. But man, this is drinking so good. I wish I could have drunk this fresher because this would have been like totally banging, like, I would just love it even more. But it's still doing really well. Age considered, it's still banging. I would still say go on to Beer Republic and buy some right now and get some of the other Cellarmaker beers. This was one of the older cans. Just judging by this, it's just like, they're still going to be really damn tasty. And I kind of regret I didn't get more. But this is just so good. It's also a collab with some really renowned breweries. Like Ghost Town is just making fire stuff as well. This is my first time trying anything where Riip is involved. I guess it's Riip. But I've heard really good things about their beer as well. I need to get some more West Coast beers. Like, I can't fathom why this is just not a big thing in Europe yet. Like, this is such a nice breath of fresh air in a world of haze. Like, this is taking so much of the knowledge of making hazy beer and putting it into a West Coast IPA. So you get like a really fruity, bright, singy West Coast IPA that's still dry and bitter, which is awesome. It's kind of like when you think back to the days of Alpine, OG Alpine, also just Cellarmaker back in the day. They've been around for a while, making really dope hoppy beer. Like there's always been fruitier West Coast beers, but it's just gravitated into being like even more fruity and bright and dank, and like really emphasizing on the quality of letting all the fruit, like dank, awesome flavors of the hops shine, and you get the actual hop flavors more so, I think, than in hazies, because there's no support from yeast. Like this is all fucking bright hop flavor, which is awesome. I'm really impressed that this is holding up so well for 4 months in the can. It's awesome. I'm really looking forward to trying Double Dobis. That's going to be fun. Yeah, I should have gotten some more Cellarmaker beers, but you can't take everything. But this is a massive recommendation in terms of a grade for Lupulin Fusion Disorder with Cellarmaker, Riip, and Ghost Town behind the wheel. Like, I'm still gonna go like 92. Like, this is really 92, something like that, early 90s. 4 months in and this is still drinking fire. Like, I bet this would have been like world class, if not close to world class, like 94, 95 when it was fresh. It just really has banging bright hop flavors and a nice drying bitter, drying end, and also that like essential dankness. Like the best West Coasters have like that touch of dank weed-like vibes, which I really enjoy. Fruity weed, those flavors in Westies are the best. I love it. So yeah, really, really good stuff. Definitely check this one out. It's still available on Beer Republic because I just checked before the review. So when this airs, I'm hoping it's still going to be available. Not sponsored or anything by Beer Republic. I just wanted to let you guys know because I think some of you guys are interested in trying some of these modernized West Coast beers because I've been preaching a lot about them. So if you guys had this one, let me know what you thought of it. As always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page, and Twitter, and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And I'm going to say cheers and some banging West Coast IPA, and see you guys in another beer review.